Can you hear me, Chantel? Oh, Chantel, can you hear me? Testing one, testing one, testing one, testing one. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, try that again.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you. We got Emanuel here too.
Oh, great. Peace, Emanuel. Peace, sister. Looks like we have Mama Inya. How are you? Greetings.
What's up and greetings.
Excellent. Beautiful. Just checking people's sound and audio. Glad you all can make it this morning. We are going to get started in about 3 minutes. Try to start on time, give folks a couple more minutes to join in. But great job. Glad everything is working out. We had to switch things up at the last minute. So I'm glad to see folks this morning. How's everybody feeling?
Good.
Strong.
Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Strong, I love it. I love it. Yes, I had a 15-mile bike ride this morning.
That's exciting, rejuvenating.
Yes. yes. So it was all good.
That's routine?
No, it was Bike to Drive in Chicago, so the whole Lakeshore Drive was shut down. Where are you at, Mama in
Judaica.
Judaica?
I'm in well, right now I've brought a bunch of girls to a dance conference here in Cincinnati, Ohio, but I live in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, okay, nice, nice, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And Chantel and Emanuel, you all are joining us from the tiny house, I'm sure.
We're not in the tiny house right now. We're actually babysitting in we're babysitting in Charlotte right now.
However it works. However it works.
It is weird to be in a big city right now. Emanuel was like, "Can we handle this?"
It's too much.
That's funny. And Charlotte's not a big city, so I don't.
No, it's not like Chicago.
No, that
but
doesn't.
When you're somewhere when the town is 500 people,
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte's pretty big.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Bigger.
Yes.
Well, this is great. I know we're gonna have people join on as we go, and I know we also want to try to start on time and end on time, especially because it's such a short amount of time that we'll have with the half an hour. We will, I say, this is the first time I've done this as well, so bear with me. But ultimately, we'll open it up to you all to lead in and give any more, just kind of whatever, and then we'll open it up for questions immediately after, just allowing you all to kick it off. Okay?
That was good.
Okay. So give me, let's give folks a couple more minutes, and we'll start at like 9:02.
Okay.
Okay. And we are recording all of this, so if there are questions you want to get, or you want us to send you comments or questions and stuff like that, we can do that as well.
That's good.
Excellent. If there at any point you want to share your screen or anything like that, you can do that as well. In the options, you should see that as well. I think that's about it. I need to go get my notes. All right, we'll start when the sister gets back. Okay. All right. So again, welcome to the 2017 Black Sustainability Summit, and welcome to our question and answering session portion of the summit. This is the first one of the weekend of the summit. So we appreciate you all taking the time out this morning to get this whole process started. We are very excited about this. We thank you for your presentation, Sister Chantel and Brother Emanuel, for the presentation you all did, and the information you all laid out. I think it was great, and we look forward to a beautiful dialogue and discussion here this morning. So I'm going to turn it over to you all. If you wanted to add anything or a couple minutes or not, that's up to you, and then we'll open it up for questions. So go ahead, Chantel.
Okay, so I am Chantel. Emanuel is we're babysitting right now, so Emanuel is doing some babysitting duties. But our video was just introducing some of the work that we're doing in the rural part of North Carolina with our homestead. Our organization is called Off Grid in Color. We're a newly formed organization. What our mission is about really helping people lead more self-efficient and sustainable lives through the farm products that we have, birth coaching services, and community outreach. We just started back in October, and things have been going really well. Elijah had a chance to come out, see the work that we were doing, and I thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk more about the things that we're doing. I think it's really important for people, particularly young people, to know that they can live a very self-sufficient life. And you don't have to be a super fanatic about it. You don't have to follow all the rules. You just got to get started with what you got. We don't have a lot of money or have a lot of land or have a lot of everything, but we're definitely making it work as we go and just acquiring a lot of things. Like yesterday, we got some free straw, and we be using that as mulch. We're on Craigslist, and you like, oh my God, just go get this straw and let's mulch up, our garden. So you have less weeding to do, because when you imagine a really big garden, you can get out of hand.
Absolutely.
And definitely had those times where we spent a day, weeding blueberries because we, didn't follow some of the rules and things like that. So we're definitely not fanatics about living self-sufficiently or sustainable. And I think that's the point we're trying to make, that you don't have to follow all the rules and get it right. You just kind of gotta get it going and just make revisions along the way.
Absolutely. I think that's an excellent point and a good place to start. And we'll open it up for questions now. So Mama Inya, if you have questions.
I do have a question. First of all, I give thanks for the work that you all are doing. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Pretty well.
Okay. Really, really, really inspired by your video. Greetings, Brother Emanuel. You're relieved from your babysitting duties for a little bit. I'm glad that, I love the idea that you two are a couple. Here they come. A couple working together. I love that paired power couple force. I have a couple questions. I wasn't quite sure where you were living. So you're in a rural part of North Carolina, correct?
Yes.
And how long have you been there?
We've been in this new spot since March. It's called Roseboro, North Carolina. It's about 45 minutes south of Fayetteville. Okay.
In terms of property, was that inherited or was?
Right now we're on lease. Right now we're on leased land, 5 acres of leased land. So the goal is to get our own land soon. We're looking for the minimum acre, but up to 5. 5 acres is a lot of land for us. But we're looking to buy property soon, within the next year.
So those are my intentions, to do something like that. Repatriate, though, probably to Africa. but you all are laying the groundwork for a lot of us. So I appreciate that. I have an online school, and one of the sisters said, "Mama Judeka, I love what you're doing, but my husband and I just got this property, and our intention is to live off grid. So just give me some time so I can get things set up, because we're not quite sure about the communications.
Mm-hmm.
We're not quite sure what we're even going to do, but I'm coming back to you. Just have faith."
Right.
And literally 2 years, almost 2 years, I had forgotten about her, and I actually thought, she got back with me and she said, we're on the land. We got the bees, we got the mini farm going. We have communication. They don't have any neighbors around either. So my question to you all was, in terms of interconnectedness, communicating with your brothers and sisters for, bartering or whatever you need, are you relying primarily on internet? And if you are using the internet, how is that working for you? What type of, say, off-grid means are you communicating with people via the internet?
That's a really good question.
So right now, we're mostly just relying on my old contacts. Internet's a great place to buy things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all we're really using it for.
Mm-hmm.
We also were talking about, are we too far removed from everyone else? And we were just honestly yesterday talking about that. Like, do we need more friends? Do we need to be more connected in this? Honestly, where we are right now, the reason why even our lease is so cheap is because of where it's located, right? Sometimes the land you want is very far removed, and there's pluses and minuses of both of that. We would love to be closer to the city because we'd be marketing our products or trying to get people to come out to the farm. It'll be easier for them to get to. At the same time, rural communities are also the forgotten communities too, right? And so you kind of trade off some things. I called the internet place the other day. I was like, okay, we got to do something a little bit different. Let's get a little bit of internet here because my phone is not even working out that well. And I called them, they quoted me a ridiculous price. And the first thing they said was, well, you're just in an area where it's just not that great. And I think I feel like in this time, in this day and age, I feel like that shouldn't even be an excuse anymore. So I do feel like we're at a point where we have to go out and do more within the community, which is also not a bad thing either.
Right, yeah.
And so we're definitely reaching out more with folks in the Greensboro area, which is a larger city, and we actually have some opportunities coming up with that too. But I do think out here living off grid in this capacity, you do have to do a lot of footwork to still be connected with people out in the city world or folks who are in the bigger towns.
Okay, give thanks for your information and continued success.
Yeah,
we went all the way up to Kamal's farm. Find people to help.
Yes. And I also think there's some kind of peace and also being in a place that's kind of serene and peaceful where there's not a lot of stuff going on, kind of like decluttering even your environment as far as the population of the city that you're in. I think that can also be like a form of peace even within your own city.
Absolutely. I would love it. I don't have the connections right now. I'm seeking connections, but I would love to live in an intentional community where that interconnectedness, and then that will definitely minimize your needs for outside, yeah. So, but yeah, so are you? Well, no, I'll stop right there. Just continue on.
Ask away.
Keep going.
I got a lot of questions, but some of it is pertaining to you. Some of it based upon what I've learned of what you all are doing on your land is it varies a little bit. Just different families are doing different things, and then I'm also trying to parallel it to what my aspirations are. I was definitely curious about the internet. Situation. I think probably after listening to various people that creating that interconnected intentional community is the way to go. I think it's the African thing to do anyway. I definitely don't want to be an island out there. So that was probably my biggest thing, and wanted to see how you were working that out. I'm not a meat eater. But I do know farmers who are raising animals for the money side, because they are surrounded by people who could use the meat or the sheep's wool or different things like that. I think I'll get to another specific question, and that was your rainwater harvesting. Love it. I love that. My daughter is 14. She takes environmental engineering class from Baba Ya Agbade. His wife, Ya Bangolame, she's another presenter this year. He didn't do it this year, but he's definitely teaching about rainwater harvesting and in fact, a lot of different aspects of engineering from the water perspective. All kinds of math involved and all that, which I admire. How's that working out for you in terms of, have you had to give up? Did you have to give up some things in order to maintain the volume of water that you are producing? How is that working out with your needs? And did you have to adjust greatly, or just a little bit of adjustment to utilize the water that nature provides?
So we have two ways we're collecting water. One is from the rain, and then the other one we're pumping out from a well. The rainwater is our backup water system. So we're the landowners, they have a well, and it's power operated. That's why we say we're off grid-ish.
Yeah, the ish. Okay, I remember that now. Okay.
But we do have a stored 40-gallon rain barrel that we actually did collect for rain. And that's if somehow her power goes out.
Yeah, her house has terrible electrical.
And we still are able to connect to our rain barrel. Now, I think it will be more self-efficient and sustainable if we had a bigger one. But we do have a IBC tote of 220 gallons of water that we pull from the well.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of nice to kind of have both if you're able, but definitely I know people where we were before, we were able to collect that much water just from rain and stuff. And it hasn't been a big adjustment from either the well or the rainwater. We just had a bunch of rain this week, and even though we're not collecting it now, the 40-gallon is full, I did some 5-gallon buckets. I thought, we're going to collect this rainwater. And you know what? It came in handy the other day. We were in a rush to go to the store, and our chickens needed some water. And that water I collected earlier this week, I just walked it over there.
It's right there, indeed.
So it's a lot of different ways that you can collect the water and use it. And I just want to say something about the meat part. I would encourage people not to think of animals just as meat production too. They can fertilize your land. Even if you were pasture raising chicken around your garden before the next season started, think of it as fertilizer for your land too.
And also think about them in terms of eating bugs. Like if a bunch of chickens go under your field before you plant, they'll disturb all those bug cycles, all those crickets, grasshoppers who are just waiting for you to eat vegetables.
Okay. Yes, I see the benefit.
They can have other purposes besides meat. You know, they can do a lot to control the bugs, as Emanuel said, fertilize your land, and they're just nice to have around.
Turkeys love ticks.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
And then if a neighbor happens to take one every now and then, I'm not sure what happened, but I got these beets in exchange.
That's right, barter system. That's right,
barter.
That's right. That's actually one of the questions that I wanted to ask you all, and I appreciate this question, sister. Please feel free to ask more. You all, Emanuel, you have a certain skill set that I think is very unique and very perfect for this kind of off-gridding that most people don't have. So if you could speak a little bit to that skill set, the kind of work that you were able to do, especially with Moringa, and and as a soil scientist, how that has helped you be an off-grid, and like what some things are that you would recommend that you've learned from that, both from the process of attaining that and also and whether or not how deep folks need to go in their knowledge to do this off-gridding stuff, but then also in terms of what you've learned in actually being in off-gridding, which you can't learn from being in the school environment. So just how can you, if you could talk about those things and how they've been able to help you in this process.
I think the easiest thing I could speak to would be when I did work for a university, we spent thousands and thousands of dollars building everything, get everything going. And I mean in terms of like a greenhouse. I used to run a greenhouse. I used to grow moringa. I used to produce thousands of plants, and we got them out to farmers. But what I would speak to for off-gridding is that once I left the university and I was working with farmers, I still had the university mentality. I had brand new trays. I would use them one time, and I was trying to throw it away. Farmers were like, "What are you doing? There's like 70 good cells in that 72 tray. You can't throw that away or stack them up." And I didn't understand that. But with off-gridding, that's often where you end up. You know, you can't throw away something because it's not perfect. And you can't necessarily dive into doing something as you would with like a heavy tractor or, you know, a tool that you may not be able to afford. So I think the biggest thing is to decide what you need to grow, figure out how you can do it, and then you can always scale up. You know, you can always add those tools later.
And to add to that, I think he's neglected to talk about his soil science background.
Thank you.
And it's very helpful. And that's why I was even able to tell Miss, is it Ina? I'm sorry, I can't remember your name.
I think it's Inya.
India?
No, Ina means mama in tree.
Okay.
My first name is Njadeka.
Miss Njadeka. So when I was talking to her about the purpose of the animals fertilizing your land, I learned that from Emanuel, right? So one thing that he tells all the time, and I heard someone say in one of the videos from the summit, the young brother in California, is a true farmer has great soil, right? They work the soil. So you're not gonna have anything that's gonna produce anything of quality if you don't have good soil. And I think Emanuel does a lot with making sure that soil is functioning. We used to live in a central part of North Carolina where the soil was clay, and now we live where the soil is sand, and it's huge difference. And I think our garden is not where we would like it to be because we learned to manipulate the soil. We have to heal the soil. So we spend a lot of time collecting compost from our landowner. She has a bunch of courses. Thank the spirits, because free compost. She's like, take as much as you want. We go over there, we truckload it all the way over all the time. So we spend a lot of time healing the land, letting the chicken just run ravage over the vegetables. You're not selling these vegetables, but that's not the way you should sell to the public. But for purposes of what we're doing, we're really trying to really heal that land and heal that space. And so I think that knowledge behind soil science is really important for any kind of farmer. Anybody starting out, just learning just the basic components of like what soil needs, the nitrogen it needs, and how much of this and how much of that, so you get that really perfect leaf, so you get that really nice piece of strawberries, so you can get that really nice corn, those things. And I think he's talking down on his knowledge about that, but it has been very, very helpful.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to get at with it. I said, absolutely.
I said it for him. And our moringa is growing really nicely.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Absolutely. And I think that speaks to, the piece, I think, in the synergy and like the way that you all have been positioned to do that work. And so one of the things that I did not hear as much in the video is some of the challenges that you all have experienced. And I think it's always important to talk about challenges because then folks can learn from those challenges and not have to repeat some of the things over. So if there are a couple of challenges that you all think are worth noting that can help folks as they aspire to be, starting to move towards living off-grid and the off-gridding process.
I think our biggest challenge has been just focusing.
Really?
Yeah, like we'll do the pigs, we'll do the chickens, we'll do the vegetables. We have all these things going. The garden's like a desert.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much time.
Yeah.
Like she was saying, weeding the blueberries. That was because we hadn't weeded it in like a month.
Yeah.
You should be weeding once a week, minimum. I mean, you should be out there just picking up both blades of grass and moving on.
Yes. Time management is a big thing. I think especially if you're also working full time too. So we both have still full time job, and we're trying to run a farm, a homestead full time. It takes time to make sure that your batteries are full enough to run your lights and stuff. You have to really plan out. Is it going to be cloudy this week? Is it not going to be cloudy this week? Do I have enough? Obviously we would love to have more solar power, but for what we have, you have to really plan that out. Like today, it's supposed to be cloudy. So when we left to come here to Charlotte, we made sure everything was turned off. We made sure nothing could accidentally cut on. And luckily, the sun still powers the solar panel even through the clouds, and that was nice for me to learn. So one thing is that time management is key. Another big thing for me, and I'm still struggling with this one, is the toilet system. Like make sure, right now I think we're dealing with, what's the best composting matter for your toilet system. So really think about things that bothers you in regular city life and how it could transpire into like off-grid life. The bathroom was probably not the most friendly place in any situation. And so it can be smelly sometimes, more than I care for it to be. And so now we're just in a process of like, all right, how can we make this a little bit better? Yesterday we just left the toilet open with the window open. It was no smell. We've been keeping it closed. That's how everyone else do it, right? They keep it closed and put the sawdust in. And
sometimes
I said, well, why do I smell?
A lot of potpourri.
Yeah, and so now we let it out, and it's just like a regular toilet in the bathroom. And so I would tell people to really think about their pet peeves and just everyday living in general, and how can you work around that in your off-grid life. Really think about time management. You are working for your rain. You are working for your sun. You are actually working for these things that's working for you. I think that's been a big realization for me. Like, I'm working for the sun. The sun has been so great to me, and I'm working to get that energy from the sun, and be ready to put in that work, because it's not easy compared to like how we live now. It's a big transition. You have to be willing to work for the things that should come easy in general.
Absolutely.
I think my personal biggest challenge has been relearning the things I thought I knew. Just making them applicable for our situation, like our animals. Yesterday, the sheep were out. They were all down by the house, just hanging out. Thank God I had listened to a coworker and I pretty much bucket trained them. I just trained them to want grain out of my hand. And so when we went to put them back, we just walked over there. They were excited to follow us. But I've never had to deal with that before. Fencing was always tight. Fencing was always done. There was no one getting out. So, just having to relearn and understand your personal situation, I think, is a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, and it also allows you to develop a certain kind of relationship with the animals that's different than the way you would do that at a university level, where there's an extractive relationship. Whereas in this situation, it's more of a reciprocity. It's much more of a give and take. It's more of a balanced relationship.
You get it.
Those animals feel that too. They feel that energy too. And so they're less likely to be, to potentially, harm you or run away or want to leave a situation that for them is reciprocity, is reciprocal. So I think that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Paucho, I just wanted to, before it ends today, that nurturing the soil, given ensuring that the soil has everything it needs for it to achieve that ma'at, that balance, so that life can grow. I didn't see any babies or anybody in the video. So I just wanted to say, because you're a beautiful couple, a hardworking, intelligent Africans, I wanted to say that as you're nurturing the soil, continue to nurture your own womb, soil, fertile soil, and blessings with any future babies, and just the whole family dynamic, and may everything continue to grow and expand and be all that you need it to be.
Thank you.
You're
Absolutely.
welcome.
And that actually leads to a couple of my last questions, which is around how has your doula practice, Chantel, how have you been able to incorporate that practice and the support of mothering into the off-gridding? Like, are you bringing mothers to the space? Are they learning? Are you dealing with mothers who've never been to a tiny home before, who've never seen food growing like that before, and thus, you're able to also educate them around these things? How do those things kind of come together?
I haven't had the opportunity to do that part yet. I really hoping to. I feel like what I'm doing right now with that is doing more of a started what you just said from the inside of the farm to the outside. So I'm hoping to get my first clients this summer, which I can do that. But I think the beauty about living off grid, I get to see the cycle of life in so many different ways. Whether it's a strawberry, I'm getting like a little choked up now, you know, that produces so slowly throughout the year, call it everberry. Like you get it, like you get a treat maybe once a week from this beautiful strawberry, right? And then you don't get none for a while. Or you decide you raise this chick up into a chicken. You decide it's time for it to end its life so you can bring it in to your body to nourish your soul. And how we raising our pigs. And so I feel like I get to see life on a very continuous cycle throughout the process. My goal is to really help birth givers be able to really think about how are we nurturing the seed that's growing within our body. How can we not only do that, what can we do in our environment to help shape what we're nurturing and for ourselves in general? So I would love to have the people come out to the homestead and just sit in the herb garden and just be amongst the sunflowers, to harvest some of the sunflowers and let's make some sunflower oil, you know, to walk around with the pigs and the chicken and the sheep and just to rub and just to love on them. Because I think those things are very peaceful. And I think during this time of a person's life when they are creating a being, that creating a peaceful environment, whether, you know, is really important to the seed and to that person. And so I'm really new into the doula world, and I'm really hoping to incorporate a lot of things that I'm learning at the homestead and to bring people there for their consultations or do some of their monthly checkups. That they come there, it could be a place of peace. And then I can bring some of my herbs and things that I create from the homestead to the birth site. So I'm growing lavender right now. When it's ready, I can bring that to the birth space and just have it for the mother to smell. So just really keeping that home element everywhere with the mother or whoever the birth giver is.
Absolutely. Red clover is another excellent herb to grow, or even milk thistle to help with increasing milk supply.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, then you're able to approach it pre and post. I mean, I think that's excellent. So this has been great. I want to thank you all. We are approaching a time. We have a couple minutes left, and I want to let you all close with a few words. So I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us and providing even more. You know, we don't hear from the people in this country. You know, there are a lot of Africans off-gridding. We don't often hear from them. And they don't often take the time to make videos for us. They don't often take the time to answer questions for us. And they're not often, as Mama was saying, a couple like yourselves, a younger couple with the knowledge, different kinds of knowledge, trying to pull it together. And so we do really appreciate that. It has been very valuable to hear and to take all of this in. And as a friend of yours, a personal note, it's just beautiful to see this growth and evolution happening with you. And I really wish you all wonderful ashe and all of the work that you all are doing. And so I will open it up to you all to kind of close out with whatever you want. And we thank you again.
Thank you, Elijah, for the opportunity. I feel like awesome things are happening and will continue to happen for not just things at the homestead, but just folks who just want to live a more self-sufficient life, whether you live in a high-rise in New York or you live in Roseboro, North Carolina, or somewhere in between. And we know that when people are off-grid, they kind of just disconnect from the world. And we're hoping that we can bring to people, you don't have to disconnect from the world. You just want to disconnect from things that are just not healthy for you. And so off-grid doesn't have to necessarily mean just being off the grid, but you just want to do it in style and you want to do it in color. You want to be fly with it. You want to be happy with it. And you want to feel good about it. And I just wish both of you peace, love, and happiness, and of course, healthy living. And that's our slogan. And just continue to follow us on this journey. And my big thing is just hold us accountable. If you see us slipping, hey, give us a holler.
That's it. You said it all.
Excellent. I want to thank you all again. We had a visitor, another person join the call. I don't know if they wanted to say anything before we got off, but if I don't hear anything, you all have a beautiful morning. And thank you again for joining the 2017 Sustainability Summit Q&A session. I think we did an excellent job kicking it off this morning.
Yes.
Yes, you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Peace, love.
Peace, love.